It's bright outside.
There we go. Here we are back again.
We're here. Let's do it.
It's beautiful. So
This is the magic.
what's our icebreaker this week?
This is four. We're at 4 in, right?
At least 4 in. Maybe. Yeah, no, we're 4.
That's a win.
So
And I'm actually going to be on the live thing. Yep, right now. I don't even have to talk about it. See, I'm not mentioning it at all.
yeah, not a single time.
And I'm in the live thing here, and I'm getting better at this
Oh
as
man.
each day goes on.
Are you gonna? Is there a delay?
Dude, you got a lot of hair, bro.
Yeah, I know, man. I was thinking about it today. So the new season of You dropped, right? Or not the new season, but like the second
Okay,
half
so
of
we're
the
gonna
new
make a
season.
comparison here.
Yeah. So it made me realize. So he's got kind of like long hair. He has to like put product because it's not like fluffy, right? Which is kind of neat. I don't know, whatever. Very similar hair, right? Very curly, whatever. But he has this like awesome beard, right? It's like just very robust facial hair, but it's not like it's more like it's like a beard, but it doesn't come down at all, right? It's just like on his face. And I realized that's all I want. That's after seeing that, I was like, this could complete me as a person. This is where true happiness is.
From you. That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than me going for the guy. Like, if we could do if we had like a production here, we could do the guy from You and then show a picture of you, and then do the kid from Atypical and then do a picture of me.
Oh no, not the kid from Atypical, man.
Hey, we're all on the spectrum. We're all on the spectrum.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Does your wife agree?
Probably, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm definitely special.
I think
and not in a good way.
No, I think we all are just a little bit.
Well, that's facts. Yeah, that's factual. Especially like today, in this chat at work, like today, they were talking about God for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I bet that was thrilling.
It got really special real quick.
Yeah. Oh man, in a work chat?
Yeah, because we got a little religious group going on.
Oh, you guys are starting your own cult over there.
Yeah, exactly. The cult.
Okay.
It's a work cult.
Is it a prayer group?
I don't know if that's illegal. That's probably
it has to be illegal. No, because I don't think there's a lot of regulations on religion and business. I know you can't fire people for it, but then again, like imagine. What's that?
Oh, there's no rules about cults.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Just be a cult.
The First Amendment does not prohibit cults.
That's true. Neither does the Second Amendment.
And that is the Second Amendment. We are in Florida, so
yeah. So
yeah. So icebreaker. I guess we could start with that. Or should I show you my birthday present? I showed you this, and you didn't respond to it.
So, oh, look at that. Is that Wilson, dude?
That's definitely Wilson. Look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
My wife got it for me for our podcast.
Oh, that's amazing. Where are you gonna put it?
That means 1, she's supportive, and 2, we're gonna last longer than 30 days.
We have to at this point. We're bought in. We're invested.
I mean, this is probably a $30 ball.
Well, actually, this marks 30 days. This is week 4.
Oh, look at that. So
we already lived up to the promise. There's no episode 5 now. This is it.
That's my low expectation. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to put it on the desk corner, and you got to face it so we can see it in the frame.
I do have to figure out how to put it on. I could put it right there, I guess.
Yeah.
I could do that right now.
Yeah, set it up. Let's get Wilson in the frame, man. We're the Castaways. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. That's definitely going to stay there in the event of an earthquake. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
There you go. It's better than nothing. Me and my tuck shirt.
Oh, man. All business
better
official.
than nothing. But we'll make that better. We'll figure something out.
So, all right. Well, speaking of island and stranded with Mr. Wilson over there, what's the icebreaker this week?
Okay, so we're on an island. And you get one. You have to do this for a whole year, right? So you get this choice for your needs are met. We've already talked about that. Your basic needs are met. But I don't think we did. I mean, we've only 4 episodes in. I'm hoping I'm not using duplicates already. But let's say you had one. Did we do this one already? This is why I got to write this stuff down. You can have one food restaurant.
We did not do this, I don't think, because we've
basically
done
get unlimited. We did the cereal. I know that.
Yeah, we did the cereal. We did the console. I don't know what we did on episode 2.
Yeah, I don't think we did this one. But basically, you can get unlimited food. Again, you have your basic food needs, but you don't have your wants, your desires for food. You can have one place that it has unlimited, like that menu is you can get anything on it as many times as you want for that one menu. And let's assume you're not getting like IBS or some shit afterwards, and you're
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, shoot
So
afterwards,
I can get so I can order infinite Taco Bell, be totally fine.
and you're perfectly fine. Yes,
Okay.
you're
So
actually you're filled with nutrients and electrolytes.
oh man. All right. So like I would honestly okay, I know oh well, no. I oh man, that's a tough question because like my mind, because I'm a degenerate, immediately jumps to Taco Bell, right? Because I eat
Wait,
an
Taco Bell is your jump?
I immediately jump to Taco Bell because I have such an unhealthy obsession with Taco Bell. For reference, when I was in high school, I worked at Publix, and down the road, like in the parking lot, it was a weird layout, but like in the parking lot at the edge, there was a Taco Bell, so I could walk right to it in like 2 minutes. I ate Taco Bell every single day I worked for like the 2 years I worked there.
Yeah, that's
I
how it works.
love Taco Bell.
Yeah, we had a Burger King right near Hollywood Video, and I would walk there, and I remember when it was closed, like they would close the in the inside of it, but they would have the drive through. But I didn't have a car, and it would be like 10 o'clock, and we'd close Hollywood Video at like 11, and so I'd have to walk through the drive through and like stand up there and be like, "Yo, I need a burger."
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
That was my
Oh,
go-to.
dude, we made a fake car to go through the Wendy's parking lot that was made out of cardboard. I have a whole
That's
video.
really trying.
I'll
I
have to
definitely
show you later. It's really funny. You can see
that's some
high school
effort.
me looks the exact same as now. It's like 9 years later. Anyway, or
I could
actually,
believe that.
I was a sophomore, so it was 10 years later. Whatever, something like that. I'm young. Whatever. Um, but yeah, for reference of
You're
how
going with
much I
Taco
love
Bell?
Taco Bell, real quick, one last thing. I once had glass in my burrito, and I did take a hiatus from Taco Bell for a couple of weeks, but I did go back, and I'm still eating there to this day. I almost went there today, actually.
Yeah, I don't. I couldn't. If I had glass, oof, I don't even know. Like you ate it?
Well, I bit down, and I remember thinking, "Wow, that hurt my teeth." That was not a soft consistency of a beefy 5-layer burrito with sour cream, refried beans, cheese, and beef.
Wait,
That
so
was
what's your go-to food at Taco Bell?
a beefy 5-layer burrito. I love that thing
That's
so
really
much.
it?
I mean, it depends on the day. So like sometimes I'll switch it up, but like mainly I'll get that. That's what I ate every day at Publix because they had this thing called the Meal Deal D, and it was $2.29 after tax, and or something like
Oh,
that. Not to quote the exact amount here, $2.29 after tax, or it might have been 39 cents. I don't know, whatever. But you would get a drink with unlimited refills, which when you're that age is just chef's
yeah,
kiss. And then you
absolutely.
get the burrito, the full burrito, and then you get a bag of chips. So it's a pretty good meal for $2. So I
They
ate that
definitely don't have
every
that now.
day.
They
Yeah,
definitely don't have that now.
yeah. So now the individual beefy 5-layer, what they did was they got me hooked, and now it's like $3.69 per burrito, and
They're a
I'm
drug dealer.
yeah, and I'm
Yep.
fat, so I have to get two, and a large Baja Blast. So that's like $10, which is like the whole thing about Taco Bell is supposed to be cheaper, right? So you
Oh, it's
sacrifice
not. It's
quality, but it's
100% not.
so much more expensive now.
Yeah.
I think I'm still gonna
And
go with Taco Bell too, that or Chipotle, to be honest.
ooh, definitely better than I would take Taco Bell over Chipotle.
Yeah, see, Chipotle's good, but there's not a lot of variety. With Taco Bell, right, I
That's
can
true.
get like spicy ranch one day, right, because I could like zest it up a bit.
It's funny because my go-to is like the chalupa. I like a chicken chalupa, or I like a steak supreme taco. And I used to like the Mexican pizza, but then I got a chalupa like a couple months ago, and it was like $6, $7 just for
Yeah,
that chalupa. It's
yeah.
phenomenal. I will say this: it's something about the crust. Like it's just, oh, it's
Oh,
so freaking
it's the crunch, man. It's
yeah, it's
the
that
yeah,
crunch. I
yeah.
love the crunch, man.
Yeah, which is funny. I literally have watched countless videos about how they make all that stuff, and it is not sanitary or like great,
Oh yeah, I
but
don't want. I don't.
whatever.
We can stay away from that.
Yeah, 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 but
I don't
it's
want to see
great.
how chicken's made. I don't want to see nothing. How milk is made. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh god, I saw a video about KFC chickens once, and
Yeah, no, I don't want to see nothing.
yeah.
Nothing, man.
So what about you? What's your
If
pick?
Taco Bell's your final answer?
That's my final answer. Lock it in.
What is my answer? I haven't even thought about it. Definitely not Taco Bell. I need some variety. Are we doing fast food or can it be any restaurant?
Any restaurant. I'm just a degenerate. I fully
All right.
embrace the fact that I'm gonna die at 35. Like I'm not even gonna. That's it.
Because I was gonna go with my immediate thought and I think this makes sense to most people who've been to this restaurant. My first thought was Cheesecake Factory. And the reason is
No.
because their menu is like 50 pages long and they literally have every type of meal I can have.
All right, you know what? That is a redeeming quality.
But it's my tech, it's like a nerdy kind of like
It's a tech
boring
choice,
answer.
yeah. I get
Yeah,
it.
because I could basically have food. There's probably a food item every day. I could have something different at most.
But do you
Plus, I
like
got my dessert.
Cheesecake Factory? Do you like the food?
It's okay, but to be fair, I haven't. It's too freaking expensive, so I haven't tried a lot of stuff. So the two or three things I've had, I have liked. I mean, shoot, we even had like when we went there like a year ago, we had the lettuce sandwiches or like it's a appetizer, and I wouldn't think I would like a lettuce wrap with chicken in it, but it was phenomenal, and I would eat that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Cheesecake Factory. That's my final answer.
That blows my mind.
Locking it in. It's not Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is too boring. It's too
No, I
like
couldn't do
it's not
Chick
enough.
Fil A. Plus, like at Chick Fil A, have you ever had that like 3 days in a row?
It's also not good. Something happened to Chick. I think COVID changed a lot of stuff, but COVID changed
Well,
Chick-fil-A.
they've seen record profits over the last like 4 years.
I bet, but everything's just bad about it. We've
Yeah.
talked about it a lot.
Well,
Like
they got rid of the chicken noodle soup, man.
oh, they have it.
Did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
ever have it?
But it's just dirty. Like it's dirty. Like it's just I don't know. I can't do it. I've never had it. I had the torta. Is it the same thing as the tortellini one?
The
The
it's
tortilla?
tortilla soup.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pretty good.
yeah. So like the chicken noodle was spicy, which I really like a spicy chicken noodle. And I get bad allergies from time to time. So like I'll get sick, and that thing would just clear me right up, man. Because it's like it's healthy, right? Because it's just broth with like vegetables, and then you have noodles to slurp it down with. It's spicy, so it flushes you all out. I mean, it was phenomenal,
Huh.
absolutely fantastic.
Never had it, man.
Yeah, they got rid of it. I don't know. Maybe our
No.
location was just good and everybody else's sucked, but I miss it. I miss it every day.
Yeah, I don't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah. So, well, anything exciting happen in the world of gaming? At least for you?
Not really, bro. Have you played anything new, different?
Nothing like really new. I've been kind of revisiting some older stuff. I've been
I'm assuming
playing.
you're done with Harry Potter.
I I don't know. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's a game like GTA for me, right? Where like I'll get in a mood
Too
and
big, right?
I'll just play it. I'll just play it all day. I'll sit there, I'll fixate on it, brain goes burr, fantastic. And then like right now I'm just not in that mood. So I just kind of dropped it. It's been sitting there. I've got an update pending. Haven't touched it.
To be fair, that was my worry. Is that's why I didn't want to buy it right off the bat. Is because I was worried it was one of those games I'd play and it'd be too big and I would give up, like a Grand Theft Auto or like a Witcher 3 or something. I'm just not
Yeah,
in the mood.
which is weird because like I mean I use Golden or not Golden Ring. I use Elden Ring as like kind of like the golden boy of video games right now. Where
Definitely in
it's
the last couple of years for sure.
Elden Ring did this thing where it was big and it kept getting bigger. Like every time you did something substantial in the game, it expanded the scope of the game, but it led you through it in like this weird organic way. And ever since I've had that, if I get dropped into this massive open world, I'm just like, I don't know. Elden Ring ruined video games for me. I'm pretty
Yeah,
yeah.
I could totally see it. The organic part of it, I think, is the big part of what you're
I
trying to say. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
oh, it's
I have to
natural.
uninstall Elden Ring and delete that experience from my brain so I can either one go back and play Elden Ring again and just have that experience, or two just not ruin other video games. Because like the same thing that happened with like Sons of the Forest. Like we talked about how I play that game a bit. It's just too open, too wide, which is not a
I don't.
bad thing. But
To me, I don't know if it's Elden Ring because I'll agree. Even though I didn't play a lot of, I played probably 70, 80 hours, and I never beat it. But I don't know if it's that or like playing so many Ubisoft games, and I think I'm done with them. And it's just they're two different type of games. But I like you give me Far Cry, I would buy every Far Cry. You release a new Far Cry, I'd buy it. You release a new Assassin's Creed, especially the newer ones like Origins and the other one like Odyssey. Those are good games. I would buy those day one. But now I don't know what it is. I just don't have the patience to be collecting stuff it's not that organic. Like I think that organic is like the clear definition of what makes a good game now. And I think our standards are a little higher. So I either want something organic and big, or I want something small and something bite sized that I can finish in like 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, and everybody always talks about like I want to feel like I'm a part of the world, right? Which is a little bit of a part of it, but I think some people take that to this next level, and
Yeah.
like it just becomes too much. Like I don't need to know that there's like in the Assassin's Creed games, for example, I'll just throw them under the bus, at least the older ones. Like there were feathers around the world that you would collect, right? And there would be like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
billion of them, right? And then some games do that, except they'll have feathers, they'll have books, they'll have like
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
item
Right.
imaginable.
Pretty much.
And then they also have like side events and all this stuff. And like it's cool, like it's really cool, but make me care about it, which I think a lot of
Yeah.
games don't do very well.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah. I'm
so
kind of, I don't know. I just don't, like, I still haven't even played Valhalla, like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla one. I want to get back to it. I tried it for like 10, 15 hours and it's the collecting part. I've just lost it. I've lost patience for it. I don't know.
yeah, and I mean it could be too, just because like, I, the whole work is just dopamine hits over and over. But
Yeah, but I've been playing God of War. Like I started, so I beat Dead Space. I beat that probably like a few days after our episode, last episode. Good game. Like I said, I still qualify like, hey, it's a great game. Definitely worth playing. I definitely would recommend playing it. I definitely wouldn't pay full price for it. It's a rental at, or on sale for 20, $30 type of thing. I think even 30 is a little high, especially since it's already a game. Like it was already a game, even though it's completely remastered. Definitely worth the experience. But I did put the difficulty down. And ultimately, at some point, I stopped kind of caring about the story, and I was just kind of playing it just to beat it at that point. So, good game, like a 7, 8 kind of game, but definitely not the experience I remember when I first played it, when it was just a whole different experience. But I beat that, and then I went right into God of War Ragnarok, and that reminds me of kind of like what we're talking about Elden Ring. It's not the level of that, but I actually find myself liking Ragnarok better than the first one. I never beat 2018. I'm probably about halfway through the game right now, but it's different to the point of I don't want to put the controller down, which I did not have in 2018.
that's a good
Uh,
feeling.
I have it where I literally could hold myself up just like I would with Elden Ring. I could do that. You give me a weekend, no kids. That's the type of game that I literally could play 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. not stopping, and I would have just as much fun. It's got like a perfect pace to it, which I think is really important too, the pace, where it's not just action, not button mashing. It's like a perfect flow from one scene to the next, not too many cut scenes, not too much story. Um, I am kind of curious because like when I'm looking at like the walkthrough to kind of figure out where I'm at, I'm about like 40% in or so, and I'm curious on how much faster it goes because I feel like it is eventually going to get a little boring because it's basically like it's kind of the same thing. Like all these games are kind of the same thing where you can put me into a different terrain, or like it's winter or it's summer instead of winter, but ultimately it's still the same. And so I think eventually it's probably going to get boring for me. But for now, it's a again 40%, 50% in. It's highly recommend, highly. I would buy it $70 first day kind of game, from my experience so far. So
So you bring up like kind of like scenery changes and that kind of stuff. Is that something that you associate with progression? Is that important for you?
well, it is for this one because I'm tired of the winter stuff. Because like the first one, it was all ice and it's all. I mean, there was water and stuff a little bit. This one was completely different. I mean, there's a part where you're like in a summer kind of planet type of thing, and then you're going to another realm that's a different. It's got trees or something, and it's completely different. I like it just because it provides new variety. Because it does get a little boring when it's. I had the same issue with like we're talking about Assassin's Creed, like playing Assassin's Creed Origins and just it's just in the desert, and they all literally look the same. Odyssey was the same, where literally you're in this Greek world, but they all and it's a huge map, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that. And that's going back to Elden Ring. It's you've got these different terrains, and then you've got the underground, like you've got a completely different world, right?
Well, it's
That
yeah,
is just it's an incredible experience.
yeah. Elden Ring is cool too. I keep freaking praising Elden Ring, but like even like the underground segments are all different. Like they're all different themes. Like you have the one that's like cool, like I can see the starry night sky. You have another one that's like a hidden city that's
Yeah,
been gone for centuries and like all this other stuff. So I totally get that.
and it's just different enough where it's interesting and it doesn't get boring in the story and all that stuff. But yeah, I think God of War definitely very cool. The graphics on the PS5 look fantastic. Again, what's insane about it is 2018 had really good graphics.
Yeah.
So just to, it's kind of crazy how I feel like we haven't really come that far from what I remember of playing these games, 3, 4 years ago. And to think that that came out so long ago and it's not that, like, I honestly, I don't know what else can they do to make this stuff look better?
I think there's
Like,
always like more. I mean, we've both done a little bit of game development, right? So like poly
yeah,
counts and all that stuff always increase. So, but that comes down to like processing power. You look at like texture mapping, and that's like a whole it's something I don't really understand that well, but it's a whole thing within itself. Like there are things to improve, but I think we're past the point where now, like if I go back and I play like an Xbox or even like an Xbox 360 game, right? If I kind of like look at those graphics, I'm like, well, this is weird. Like I thought this was like cutting edge, and I thought it was like, insane. Like I remember seeing this and being like, oh my god, like Gears of War, for example. I was like, oh my god, this is so gory, this is so bloody, like it's gonna give me nightmares. And then now I look at it, I'm like, cool, that's like toothpaste, right? I think we're kind of past that point where I think now, because it's so advanced, we're close enough to our brain can actually always associate it with this thing, which is interesting.
yeah, honestly, I don't know what they can, like graphics is not something that I'm really big on anymore. Like it's because it's just it is what it is. Like even Witcher 3 looks great, but it's not. There's other stuff that I'm looking at for now, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or because the kids are like I have limited time or whatever it is. Um, but graphics is not it. And I will say this: we've talked before about frames per second. To me, I think that's the future, and I think that's why so many people are moving to PC as well for a lot of different reasons too. But I think PS5 Pro, PS6, that type of thing, 4Ks. I mean, 8K. I don't care. I don't even care about 4K to be honest with you. I've seen the difference between 4K and I've seen 1080 or 1440, and it's not huge for me personally. But going from 60 frames to 120, or going from 30 to 60, or even 60 to 90, whatever it is, completely different. And that's what I'm looking for and expecting. Or there's got to be something huge, like something groundbreaking, like VR being normalized and being part of the normal part of gaming and be able, and that to me is probably decades away for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have companies now. This is actually a really good segue into this. But we have some companies now trying to do it like revolutionize, like even like server technology and multiplayer technology. Like, have you ever heard of Star Citizen?
Yeah,
Yeah, so Star Citizen, they just pushed out like a major update over the last week, and it was supposed to reinvent like the way we look at like servers, and there's like a process called sharding that it like manipulates, and it does like this whole thing. And it released, and because it just I don't to my knowledge, and again I'm only going off of like what YouTubers say. There's not a whole lot of like good reporting on this right now, but they're pretty much all saying like, yeah, this is something that they just haven't done before. Nobody's really done before and implemented, and they do this massive wide scale. And now Star Citizen, because they try to innovate, is pretty much unusable right now. Like nobody can play the game, nobody can log in. If you log in, like you can't do anything. Um, so it's just I think like refining a lot of those technologies for like load bearing, where we can have like 10,000 players on one thing, right? Like one instance, right? Maybe that's like the end goal of some of these things as well, like the next revolutionary thing. But in terms of just user experience, like it would have to be VR, right? Or like something
yeah.
similar.
Where I think the sad part is it's probably going to be, I think the next step is going to be making Game Pass, but for different devices. And it's kind of depressing because it really just sets us back. So, like, I was
Well, I
even
think
thinking
we're
about it when I
there.
was, what?
I think we're almost there, right?
I mean, we're almost, this is the closest next step, is the what
Okay.
I envision in the next like 2 to 4 years type of thing. Because Game Pass is already there, clearly. Eventually, it's going to get on other consoles, which will be really interesting. Whether it's the deck or PS5 or Switch, it could be the Switch or something. That's always curious. But again, we're not getting anything new. We're just getting the ability to play old games on a different. Well, I guess we are kind of with newer games and stuff, but there's slim pickings, right? You're mainly buying it for the backlog and for this library of content, right? The 100+ games. And I can envision, because the PS Plus, PS Plus does the same thing, and I think they're going to continue to expand that, whether it includes going back to like PS1 games or PS2 games, and more of the genre setting breaking stuff, like the Final Fantasies or like RPGs, or more of the niches out there of games that are hard to find. And then be able to somehow play those on other devices, which I think is kind of the next step. Because it makes sense for all these places. It makes sense. Like, it even makes sense for Sony to be able to play PS Plus games on the deck. I mean, it doesn't not make sense. Like, to me, it makes more sense to do that than it would be to put the game on Steam, right? Like, would I rather have would I rather have this thing you have to subscribe and pay $20 a month, or would I rather have a game that I don't know. The way I look at it is that the Game Pass model is what it's gonna be. And then Switch, same thing, where they're now putting GBA games and they're doing Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games. Then they're gonna go back and do even more weird stuff, and then they're gonna expand those games, because even with what the Switch offers, you just don't get a whole lot of content. But eventually, that's got to be huge. Like, what if Nintendo opens the door one day and it's not just dozens of games, but you get hundreds or thousands of games, and you're paying $25 a month? Would people do that? I think
Yeah.
hell yeah, they would. I don't see why they wouldn't.
What blows my
Even if I can
mind.
emulate it, sure, but I'd rather, me personally, I would pay $25, $20 a month for unlimited Switch and all those old Super Nintendo games. Even though I can emulate it for free, I don't know. It just seems something like I do.
Yeah, what blows my mind too is like you brought up emulating, right? And I'm like on the edge of my seat, like ready to like talk about this because I've been passionate about it for so long. Why on earth aren't companies, or like whether it be the gaming company, right? Like, or like the console company, for example, why are they not working together to license older things to go on the cell phone? Think about it, right? We already have emulators. We already have the Game Boy games doing it. We have I mean, I can pull out my phone right now and start playing Pokemon like that. That's what I did in high school. That
Right,
was
right, right.
10 years ago. I did that in class, right?
Why could you not put a Game Pass on there, like a Switch Pass,
Exactly.
that then gives you access to all that? And again, I think
Yeah.
that's the 2 to 4 year. I think they're going to do that, and that's the next step. Is the way I look at it, before VR or before even and it's kind of depressing, because it's like the next step isn't with graphics, because we're kind of bored with that. The next step could be maybe 120 frames, but I don't think the PS6 is going to do that either. And then you're kind of just stuck at, okay, well, now I'm just getting more games. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, but as we're all aware, do we play them?
I have a bit of a hot take. Well, maybe it's not a hot take. I mean, it's kind of obvious if you think about it. But so we've seen a lot of crossover media recently, right? So like what I mean by that is like TV shows about video games, movies about video games, and they're doing really well. Like the Super Mario movie coming up, it actually looks good, which is phenomenal because everybody's like Chris Pratt should not be Mario because it's like, hey, it's me, Chris,
Yeah, I'm super
it's me,
excited.
Mario. You know, like there's no accent.
I'm definitely
Um,
seeing it. You're going to
yeah,
see it, right?
yeah, it looks phenomenal. It
And
looks
John Wick.
fantastic.
So mind you, there's 3 movies that are coming out in like the next 30 days. And so, because we're going to go see Shazam, they got the new Shazam.
Okay.
Which Shazam one was really good. Like, for DC movies, it's a very good children's type of movie that I can
Yeah,
watch
it
too,
felt like they followed the Marvel formula, which made it good. But then,
which
like,
worked for them.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what's his name? The guy who stars in it is a good, like
I like that guy. Yeah.
he's clever. He's kind of like a clean. I think he even mentioned he's kind of like a clean Ryan Reynolds, right? So like,
Hmm.
not as handsome. He's not my top 3 guy that I'm dating, but he's up there. So they got that. They got John Wick 4. So of course I'm gonna go see that for all 3 hours, and ain't no wife coming for that one, because it's a 3 hour movie.
There you go.
And then they have Mario, all in like the next 30, 45 days. I've never been to the movie theater, even the last 3 years.
Yeah, I went for. I mean, we talked about it. I went for Avatar. It was kind of a wonderful
We
experience
did
because
talk about
I
that.
was drunk in the theater, but it was so long it went away. But anyway, so all this media crossovers happening, a lot of exciting stuff. It's driving other industries, right? So if you like throw all that into an evaluation of like what the video game industry is, multi-trillion dollars easily, right? I think we can all agree on that. So what is the next step for the industry? How do you make that market share bigger? How do you increase the scope? I think one of the pieces we're missing right now is esports. Esports is a thing. It is
I
existing
don't think
with
we'll ever.
market share. It's not very big. I think some of them are big, but because some of them are big, doesn't necessarily mean that esports themselves is big.
What do you mean when you say esports? Like, what do you?
So like what I
Are you talking about like
envision.
League of Legends? Like,
No, I'm talking like any like a multiplayer game is on ESPN and people watch it.
yeah, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
So I think it could. The problem is football and all those other sports and all that stuff, right? We have a way to watch it, consume it to where it's entertaining. I think with video games, you have to be very intimately attached to that video game in order to consume that content in an entertaining way, right? And I think streamers, influencers, all that stuff are kind of like a middle ground where you don't need to be attached to it. You can be attached to the person, but we have nothing that is attached to the competitive spirit of video games, right? Without being intimately attached. So I think one of the bigger focuses of gaming companies, or what it should be when they start launching some more competitive style stuff, is how do you make these watchable by a general audience? And it's a problem that
How
there
do you
was a
do that?
huh?
How do you do that?
I don't know.
That's why I don't think that'll. I think if anything, it'd be kind of like what High Top Sports and them did, where they're playing Madden and they're playing the the operator of that show and with an
But
actual
even
football player.
then,
The only thing I can
that's the
see
influencer
ESPN
side,
doing,
right? So that's that middle ground.
yeah,
So
and I think that's the only thing is sport games specifically, and basically they're just playing it on, and there's like real football players playing it, or it's not these people, it's not kids that are playing it, not professional esporters, it's literally football players or famous people. I could see some show like that. You got some celebrities playing video games with each other. I could see
maybe
that.
more of what I'm
I
trying
think
to
that would get more viewers than just esports.
it depends on the celebrity. It depends on a couple of things. But like for example, like League of Legends, right, is a game that is very difficult to comprehend. Everybody that goes and watches like League of Legends on a high level is usually a pretty high level player. I could be wrong, but like they have a basic understanding. They're usually like silver or
For
gold.
sure. Which is why not
Yeah.
anybody can just watch it. I can't pick it up and watch it. Yeah.
Right, right. So, but the viewing experience for that game is actually pretty good when you understand the mechanics because of the fact that it's like a top-down view, kind of like how football is like a top-down view, right? That's kind of what I mean is like if I go and I watch Call of Duty, am I going to watch somebody's first person the whole time? Am I going to sit at a top-down view of the map where there's no
I'd be
action?
curious on that if they had some sort of camera in it where basically it's now
Right.
a sporting event. I still don't think people would watch it, but not to the level of even baseball, which I'm kind of
Yeah.
making fun of baseball there, but like,
But
I
imagine a
don't know.
future, right, where they figure that out, where they make it to where you can sit down and it's like watching an action movie. People would
Yeah.
consume the crap out of that. If it looked like a high octane thriller as just like a video game tournament with stakes, audience cheering, commentary, absolutely. I actually think it would be huge. I just think the hardest part is, we don't have the technology to do that because now you're programming. Part of that means you need thousands of unique animations, right? Part of that means you need a bunch of different like camera perspectives that you somehow have the production team to switch on the fly. So I just don't think the technology's there yet, but I would be excited for that kind of future.
I could foresee, I think what they're going to do before that is they're going to continue this Last of Us push.
Oh
So I
yeah.
think the success of The Last of Us has basically proven that not only is there a large group of gamers that will watch a show, because clearly, like if you talk to any gamer, like real gamer, they're watching The Last of Us, right? But what's cool about The Last of Us is it's not just those people, it's the spouses and it's the family and friends that actually want to watch it as well. And they want to watch it on their own. And I think that excites me because that to me is a way to get more like esports. I think it's a little bit more contained, but this is to that next level of making it more normalized with everybody.
Right.
Is it taking The Last of Us and doing more of that content, doing it with Uncharted, or doing it with, if God of War works, or even Horizon. Like there's some, or even, I mean, they tried it with things like Halo and stuff. I think if they can just make it good and they can continue to push it with good directors. I mean, clearly they had good directors when it came to The Last of Us. You had people who did Chernobyl, like these are big people. And I think if they can continue that on good mediums, good outlets, I think that to me is the push where, oh, I mean, I'm reading articles about people buying The Last of Us, the game, because of the show, which is crazy to me because like I thought that was a joke when I first heard that that's what they're thinking, that people are going to watch the show and then buy the
Oh
game.
no, it's worked time and time again.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
just crazy to think that but it's that good that people will go out and go buy a PS5 so they can play The Last of Us. And I honestly, I think that's part of kind of my next step is basically, hey, this Game Pass and expanding that, and then expanding it to different consoles. So you're playing a PlayStation on every console, basically. Eventually, this is all going to get scrapped. And then two, it would be expanding into the movie and into especially since movies are kind of gone, even TV shows are kind of gone. We're in this new era now post COVID. And I think that's kind of the next step too. But the problem is they just have to make it good, and they have to not make it old and
well,
people
they
get
have to
tired
put
of making
money
it.
into it. Yeah. I mean, you probably remember the whole era from like early 2000s of like video game movies, and they all sucked.
Yeah, they all sucked.
Yeah. Do
But
you know
I
why?
mean, same thing with superhero. I mean, superheroes had the same thing, and then Marvel changed that forever, right? But
Yes.
Marvel even eventually got boring, and now people aren't watching Ant Man, or they're not watching Doctor Strange 2, or like whatever it is. And but we haven't even got to that Marvel part of the shows, except for The Last of Us, kind of crushing it and doing amazing things,
Yeah, so I pulled up some stats too, but Last of Us pulled 4.7 million viewers on the debut alone. So on the series
which is
premiere.
insane because that has to be just gamers, right? Like that's not
It's
anybody.
probably a good portion of it because you got to keep in
Yeah,
mind a lot of gamers are going to be on the HBO Max platform and they aren't going to watch the premiere. So that's
that's
mainstream.
true too.
That's
So it's even
mainstream
more.
media is what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's way more. That is the second largest debut HBO has ever had, only behind House of the Dragon, which makes sense because House of the Dragon had 9 seasons of Game of Thrones hype, or
Right, right,
seven,
right.
or whatever number it is. Um,
And
but
I'm sure The Last of Us is scoring a lot higher than that too.
oh yeah, but like the whole
Man.
thing too is
I
that
think they ended though. Wasn't the last episode like 14 million or 10 million or something?
dude, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, so I need to watch the final episode. I'm
Well, I think it's
slacking.
funny because I haven't watched it either, and I'm curious on how many gamers kind of got off of it because of playing video games or doing other stuff, while you have everybody who's
I'm
normal
anxious
starting to
because I
watch it.
know how the game ends, and I'm so anxious to watch the episode. And I'm because like, dude, the last episode killed me,
Yeah,
man.
8.2. It had 8.2 million.
Dude, that last episode when he was like baby girl, I couldn't, man. Oh, it's so good. But going back to your point though, where it's like, yeah, will these series, this media crossover, will that actually sell more copies? It does. It's been proven now 3 times, I think, with like mainstream success. I forget what the first one was, but it's literally The Witcher, I think,
Yeah,
increased
Witcher was
downloads.
great.
But
Actually,
then
yeah, that honestly, that was the first show that probably was a video game show that was
yeah,
big.
but
I
then
mean,
we also had Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which
yeah, but that wasn't.
single-handedly redeemed Cyberpunk 2077.
I'll say
Single-handedly.
that, but I'll say this back to Witcher is like The Last of Us, where it goes beyond gamers. Cyberpunk, I don't think goes beyond game. It's an anime as well, so it's still stuck with that niche. To me, The Witcher kind of went with like Game of Thrones, where it's normal people who are watching it. It's people that are watching Friends, when that it's that kind of
Yeah, they
thing. It's
had
like
different
that's why
missions, I
my wife
think.
was watching The Witcher and wants to watch it again. That's not normal
Yeah.
for someone like my wife to do that.
Yeah, I think Cyberpunk was rehabilitation was the mission there and it worked. And then I think Witcher was also a book series, well-renowned book series as well. Um so they've
But
just kind of
still with
had all
nerds
that.
though.
Yeah, but it's different. Like a gamer is different than like somebody who like the gamer, right? with like the stereotype where he's, if you look at South Park, the guy who's just sitting with corn chips on his desk. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
corn chips on my desk, so like I fit that stereotype.
I got Doritos. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. So like, it's very different than like the person who grabs a book from like the secondhand bookstore, sits down and reads the whole Witcher collection, right? Um, but
Well,
like
yeah, I mean, reading by itself is different for sure too.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I just think that specific. I mean, it's like a fantasy kind of thing, but and then we saw like other things too. Like we've seen like less successful stuff. Like Dragon Age has a TV series. I'm literally looking at them right now. Um, a little
I don't
bit
know.
less
I just
successful.
think Witcher, and I don't even know what's Witcher viewership.
It's got to be big. Like there's no way it's not. Can I throw a
What's the?
guess? Because we're only looking at like debut numbers, right? Like
Well, I'm just
opening
looking at
weekend stuff.
total. It says 76 million people watched at least 2 minutes of The Witcher.
That feels like a bad statistic, though.
That does sound like a bad statistic.
I would say like an eighth of those people actually watched the full episode. I think it's a little more realistic.
I'm Googling highest viewership TV shows for Netflix. Yeah, how do they even track all this stuff, bro?
Netflix actually has a success meter. Um, so like I saw it described. Basically, the more you binge a show in one sitting, or within like a certain time period, it gives it like an assessment rating of I don't know what they call it, and then like basically the more you watch in a condensed period, the higher your assessment is because it drives memberships and it's a whole thing.
I guess they do it based on minutes viewed too.
Yeah, yeah.
They did Lucifer, Squid Game,
I guess it would
Wanda
be minutes
on Disney
view
Plus. It
versus
was
time.
WandaVision, Ted Lasso, Apple. Oh, they do have Witcher on here. So 7.1 billion minutes viewed. So it's number 15 in 2021 was Witcher. So again, a video game
Yeah.
made it to top 15 of all streaming platforms. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think we're gonna only see more media crossover.
I do. I
Um
agree 100%.
I mean like even then like esports being in like the weird state it is now is still growing I guess like money wise, population wise. But the other part is like it's not profitable right now for actual organizers. Um which is a whole other thing. That's like I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna figure that piece out. Cause
That's where oof, that's tricky.
yeah, because like the NFL's popular because of merch, right? Or not popular, profitable because of merch. Like they don't really make money on ticket sales, I don't think. Maybe on like the Super Bowl. But it's really like on merch and advertisement. That's it.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't think esports. It's tricky. It's a tricky gamble with that stuff.
Yeah.
I think shows for sure are going to be the future, and then because it's also going to sell games at the same time, so it's profitable multiple ways. But yeah. So I was playing God of War, and then I got what is it called? Dead in Me, or what's it called? So remember we were talking about Until Dawn,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the other game that it's Devil in Me, Dark Pictures, but the other and it came out like late last year, but it's actually kind of cool. And I was like Googling it last night because I'm like, it's about like this serial killer back in like the late 1800s in the United States. And it has them like killing people. And then it goes 100 years. They always do this where they go back in the day and then they fast forward a certain period to like now. But what's interesting is it's based on a true story in the sense of there was this serial killer back 100 years ago with the same name. And I was like Googling it. Like that's how cool of an experience this is where I'm Googling it, like researching it, and like, oh, well, this guy did kill like not a ton, not 200 people like it says in the game, but he did kill some people and he did some weird stuff. And he had like this house that had trap doors and all this crazy stuff like the game has. But it's again my perfect game. That's a perfect break. We were talking about that with what I kind of like about GameFly is like I can have a game where I'm playing it on a break from Ragnarok. My hope is that I don't get tired of Ragnarok, and then I can play this game for 8, 10 hours, beat it, and then I go right back to God of War. and it's not too long where I should be forgetting the controls, but we'll see when we come next week exactly if I'm still playing God of War.
Some I'm trying to think of even what I've been playing. Weirdly enough, something that I've been really enjoying, and this is very strange. It's Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 1 and 2. Have you ever heard of
Okay.
those?
No.
I don't blame you. They're pretty niche, but basically all it is like you have these units and you can choose from like different things. Like you can mod the first one, which is why I have the first one. So you can put in like Star Wars people, you can put in like Halo people, like whatever you want, and then you can just put in like a million people, right? And then a million versus like a million dinosaurs, and they just fight. So what I'll
Is
do
it a
is
clicker? It's a clicker game?
it's like an RTS kind of, but like you just watch it. It's like a simulator.
Oh, it's a clicker. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So like I just sit there and like I'll have like Discord open and like I'll be streaming to like some people, and then all of a sudden we'll just be like we'll like take bets, right? And then this is so stupid, but we would take shots based on the casualties. So like let's say we have like 3 groups, right? Be like, okay, if this group loses, then I take a shot. And it's just I don't know. It's been something like fun and relaxing. It's just mindless fun.
What is it on? It's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Is it free?
No,
No.
no, it is not. It's like $20.
Have you played? I don't know how to say this, but Despot's game.
Despots.
Yeah, you got to look it up.
All right, let me look that up. What's it about?
Um, it's on Game Pass. I'm gonna put it in the chat too.
Oh God, I just looked at my Steam points balance.
But
That's
it's on Game Pass. It's a really actually it's a clicker game.
dystopian battle simulator.
But it's a really cool game. But basically, you go from room to room, and you pick a. You're battling. You're just clicking a button. You're one button, and it's just battling one. Kind of. It sounds like what it is. Kind of what you're doing. It's just battling one set versus the bad guys, and then whoever wins, you move to the next room, and then you get a prize in that room, and you kind of get to choose which rooms you go to. It's a roguelite, so it can
Mhm.
like based on where you're going, it's going to impact your success in the future. It's all dice rolling basically, because like you might lose by going to one room, and ultimately you're trying to get out of that level to another level, and then you just kind of keep going until you eventually die,
That sounds pretty fun. I
or
might
you
check it
beat
out.
it. I don't know if you beat it. I mean, it's got very positive,
Well,
although the
it's got
recent reviews are
yeah.
mixed, which is
Now,
weird.
I think you might have written this first review here. As an older gentleman, I appreciate a game that doesn't require reflexes. Was that you?
That definitely sounds like me. Just
Yeah.
a thought.
Yeah, that I mean,
I do have
that
about
is your in-game
360.
name, isn't it?
I do have about 362 products. So that's about right.
Do you
I
actually?
would be easy out.
Oh yeah, we
Easy out
talked
would
about
be
this. Yeah.
yeah, but no, I have not. I don't think I've ever left a review on here. But yeah, I would agree as an older, that's for sure. But the game is hard. It's a little that
Oh, it's
other
an
comment
auto
review.
battler. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's a click. It's a yeah. I guess auto battler is what it's called. Yeah,
I'm just looking at the tags. Yeah. All reviews
but
are
cool
very
game.
positive though. Yeah.
I think you'd actually like it. It's again, it's on Game Pass. I would try it out at least. But
I
I
love
think
roguelike strategy builders
yeah,
because auto battlers are like a deck builder because I love card games,
yes,
right?
that's what it reminds. It's
Yeah.
basically Slay the Spire, but it's a different type of. It's just a different type of game.
That's the
Which is
other game I've been playing, which has also been seeing an increase in popularity because like influencers is Yu-Gi-Oh,
oh really?
specifically Master Duel. Yeah, so
I like
playing a
that.
lot of
Okay,
that.
that's cool.
That game is free, so
Have
that's
you
right
played
up.
Marvel Snap?
What's that?
Have you played Marvel Snap?
I have. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, objectively, yes. Is it my cup of tea? No. Like I do have a lot of criticisms on the game, but then we're diving into card game theory, and I will talk about that for hours. So we may not want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. It's fun. I mean, it's definitely like it. The designer's very talented. He's designed a bunch of stuff. Um, he was also it's Ben Brode, right? Who did it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I'm pretty
like
sure it's
that.
been
I don't
brewed.
know anything about it. I've only heard stuff that I hear on podcasts that say it's freaking addicting.
Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, it is Ben Britt. So he did. He created Hearthstone. Well, he was like the lead
Oh, okay,
design on
that's cool.
Hearthstone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
So
might be good then.
yeah, so it's kind of got like that. So like you can see Hearthstone stocks are going down, Marvel Snap stocks are going up. Yeah, obviously, he's having an influence. So he's very talented. So just not my cup of tea.
Dude, I might have to play this
What is it?
Marvel Snap.
You should. I think
I
you would
wonder if it
like
works
it.
on the deck. It's
It'll
got to
work
work.
on the deck. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it's got.
mobile game at heart.
Yeah,
So just put it on your phone.
or put it on my phone or the iPad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what can go on your phone now?
No, no idea.
The 2003 classic. I think it's 2003. Star Wars KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
Is it remade? I thought they were working on a remake.
They were, and then it got canceled, and then it got uncanceled, and then it got maybe canceled, and nobody has heard about it since. I think. Star Wars
I guess
KOTOR.
I'm just gonna keep waiting for that remake. I tried to play it. Oh, man, it was like the graphics got to me a little too much.
Yeah, it's unfortunately one with an uncertain future. Yep, still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Unless this is dated info that I'm looking at, which is also possible. Oh, it's a console exclusive for Sony.
Ooh.
That's annoying because I want to play on my computer because I'm a nerd.
Well, I'm definitely playing. I'll definitely play it.
Hey, can I borrow your PlayStation 5 when this game comes out?
Never.
Can I just steal it?
So Resident Evil 4 comes out. We talked about this last time. The remastered one comes out on the 24th. So that's the one I got game locked with Game Flash. I should get that
That GameFly, man.
by next weekend. I'm hoping.
Oh man, that GameFly cracks me up every time you say it. You are the only customer they have.
I
Have
know.
they
I'm
have they
surprised
called you
they're still
personally
good.
to thank you for that
I will
person's
say this
job?
as a commercial to our one viewer, that's us actually, is that it is a great source to buy used games because they have like deals every now and then. Like even right now, Midnight Suns is $30, and I'm like thinking about jumping on it because that's a game I've really wanted to play and buy. But like Sonic Frontiers and all these games that get really cheap, like really quick. Because what happens is I think they buy a bunch thinking people will rent them, and then they discover they don't actually have people that are paying them, and then they start selling the games, which I'm
So
sure they're losing money.
what? And I'm just playing devil's advocate, just kind of being a little bit of a jerk towards it because I don't think GameFly is the greatest business model. But
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it's
yeah,
awful.
yeah, yeah. Especially with Game Pass floating around and like cloud-based services. But like, what's the difference between paying $30 for Midnight Suns for a disc, right, or however they send it to you, versus just hitting it on a Steam sale and buying it for $30 or maybe even less?
No, no facts, but you'd have to have these games on Steam, right? So there's certain games like God of War. I mean, I guess yeah, you're right in the sense of there's not a bunch. I guess it's ultimately because I'm a console gamer.
Okay, that
I mean, that's the
yeah.
bottom line. I can't make that transition for a lot of different reasons. Again, I don't have like a setup. I know I'm sitting here at my desk, but I don't have a setup where I can just come out here for 3 4 hours and then the baby and all that stuff.
Three, four
And to
hours
be
is
honest,
rookie
I'm just
numbers, man. We live out here.
yeah, I just love. I don't know. I just love, and this was my thing that I was talking about with the Game Pass stuff. I don't think they have to be worried that if they have PlayStation on Xbox, that Xbox isn't going to ever buy a PlayStation. Like, I think what it is it's like how you grow up or like whatever you start playing, you're just stuck with. Because and I think it's a controller thing personally, but it's also a little bit of the UI and just the flavor and maybe your username or your trophies or everybody's got their own different thing. For me personally, it's the controller and I can't get over it. And even if I can play the controller on the Xbox, I still feel weird. Like I still want it naturally to be on my PlayStation. So it's I don't know. And I'd be willing to pay. I mean, shoot, if I could play Game Pass games on the PlayStation, oof, if I could play I mean, how much would I be willing to pay for that? Again, there's not a whole lot of Xbox games, but I would have access to a lot of games that I don't have on the PS.
Yeah, I mean
And then if I
we're
could
gonna
play
at
Switch,
least see like those exclusives for I don't know at least 10 more years, right? A minimum because didn't PlayStation buy or Sony? Sorry, didn't they buy Activision or something like that?
No, Xbox is trying to buy Activision. That's
Xbox,
probably a couple
okay.
months away. Now, I think Sony should buy Square Enix. I think if they did that, that's the next step. If they did, or
Can
Ubisoft
Sony buy?
or
Yeah,
Square Enix,
so well, no. Can Sony buy Square Enix? Because they don't
I think they
have
can.
Microsoft's capital.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I don't quite know how much it would sell for, but
I mean, I would say Square Enix solely because of Final Fantasy 14. Like, throw the other products out the window for right now. Final Fantasy 14 is the most profitable MMO right now, considered the best MMO, and just throws everything away probably until the Riot MMO comes out, which is like
yeah,
6 years away. So I don't know. That would
yeah,
have
it's
to
gotta
be a
be
hell of
expensive.
an
That
evaluation.
but I'm always concerned about because I'm already mad that game that Microsoft's bought Bethesda because I don't want to not be able to play Starfield or Fallout or Skyrim 6 or any 20 years later. Like I hope there's a solution to that stuff besides me having to play it on the computer. I'm begging.
But like playing on the computer is great, man, because then you can mod and then you can do all the
Yeah, I
fun
just
stuff, and then you can get your pinky can cramp because you're holding shift. That happened to me a lot when I was
yeah.
playing Skyrim.
I don't know.
Um,
I think PC's always gonna have they're always gonna miss a higher number of people for a lot of different reasons, and it just comes down to ease. And actually,
I think it's
I
just
do think it's
cost,
going to
honestly.
plateau at some point because ease is going to be more important, especially with this new generation of kids that just, which I understand, it makes sense to me. Like I just want things to be easier. If it takes more than 2 minutes, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. I think it's cost mainly, to be honest. I think if you could buy like a high end gaming PC for the cost of maybe not even high end, like a mid,
Yeah,
like
even a mid.
yeah, like a mid for the cost of like an Xbox. Because like how much are they? Like 500, 400?
Yeah, $500. Yeah,
Yeah, like you can't get. Maybe you can get the computer for that, right?
not the monitor.
Maybe
Yeah, you could
not the
probably do 800
monitors,
bucks.
not the
You can get a
keyboard.
pretty good one. $800. Yeah,
Yeah, but like you can't get all the other stuff, and then on top of that, like you need a desk, right? You need all this other stuff. And I guess you can
yeah,
make the argument like, yeah, you need one for you need a TV for it, but like it's more likely that somebody has a TV in their house than
for
monitors,
sure.
you know. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the cost goes down.
we'll see, man.
Yeah. But all right, I think we're at
We should
time
go.
here. Any signing off remarks? It's a pretty good
Bro,
episode.
we somehow made it, man. We somehow made it to episode 4. Is that what this is?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Hopefully we'll make it to 5, but maybe the raft will sail away and we'll never see each other again. Who
I feel
knows?
pretty good about it. I think no. I think next we're going to start sharing this. We're going to get a viewer. That is our homework assignment for the next.
Oh, we're getting a
It's gonna be
viewer.
someone.
Okay.
The rule is it's going to be someone we do not know.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's easy enough. This is the greatest Castaway Gamer podcast in the entire world. We can at least get one
Absolutely.
viewer.
Top one, top three at least.
Yeah.
Castaway Gamer
Yeah.
podcast.
Do you know Haley? She watched the first
No,
episode. There you
that's pretty
go.
cool.
We
That
already
is
did
pretty
it.
cool. But it can't be somebody we know, bro. Like it's got to be
Well, you don't
someone.
know her, if that helps.
These are true. Yeah.
So,
Oh, well, that's our homework assignment.
all
We can
right.
figure it out. We got this.
Yeah.